this sickness of this ideology, this cult that they want to push off. Doesn't work for everything. They don't have the answers. And this is the problem. Most of these people have dealt with only one type of dog, and they learn how to train one type of dog. My name is Clugston. I've been training dogs since 1974, long before all these other people. My mentors were two famous movie dog trainers, incredibly famous movie dog trainers, because I was a professional fighter, 75 fights on 3 continents. While these other people talk about competition, they're competitive, or that they like martial arts. Nowhere near my level, Junior. Nowhere near my level. Also, I am a published academic linguist. The credentials of the people who are presenting themselves in the purely positive, which they mean only reward-based training. That's all. Reward-based. Purely positive is an ideology doing with their mind. It doesn't have to do with the operant conditioning. My first degree was in behavioral sciences. I did operant conditioning. I did all the Skinnerian work with rats and cats, and I know Mechner notation and use it. Do any of these people even know what Mechner notation is? Now, as far as putting up credentials, what is Zak George? Who trained him? Petco? Some pet business started in 2006? Look, Junior, I was doing this before you were born. You don't have the operational experience I do. And also, you're a coward. You refuse to debate anyone. You want to have a little... Now, I've seen this in the fighting world. See, I'm used to conflict. I'm not running from things, and I'm not gonna mismatch words and let you go off on tangents and throw red herrings up. And I'm going to prove to you, too many people are talking about contrived sports. Who cares? Contrived sports, who cares? I did AKC back in the 70s. I got away from that mafia. I don't care. Talk about a racist organization and a mafia with the breeders. Only purebred dogs can be in it. Why? It should be about the dog and the trainer. It should be about the quality of the obedience. And a lot of these people don't even know the history. Obedience in AKC. They don't know about Blanche Saunders. They don't know anything. Susan Garrett started in the late 80s. She went to Karen Pryor and Gary Wilkes. Now, she doesn't talk about Gary Wilkes, and nobody's bringing up Gary Wilkes. And Gary Wilkes destroyed Karen Pryor later by saying that when she went off the deep end with this purely positive ideology of something to sell, to get a cult. Same thing that Susan Garrett ascribed to, and then she wants to bring up Bailey as her big mentor. Yes, he did some things with other animals, but again, a dog, a canine, is not a sea mammal. Now, Gary Wilkes has spent a lot of time, like him or hate him, he's a great trainer, and he's spent a lot of time derailing, destructing, and deconstructing the whole point of these people. So look at what he's written. I'm not here, I'm not getting paid for any of this. I'm not running a big empire like the Bulgarian or Susan Garrett bragging, constantly talking about she has 10,000 people who are her students, constantly referring to the things that she's written, trying to plug herself all the time. Or Fenzi, the same thing. Now I'm going to bring up something that they can't do. None of these, where I separate myself from the other people who want to talk with them. This is where the mistake the Bulgarian made, this is the mistake that Robert made, is to bring up specific dogs, because few people have been training dogs as long as I have, and they haven't trained the gamut of dogs that I have. And that's sled dogs. I'm not talking about the breed. I'm talking about the actual performance. Functional, tactical performance. Sled dogs, gun dogs, hunting dogs, boar hunting dogs, bird dogs, flushers, pointers, retrievers, guard dogs, protection dogs, scout dogs, sentry dogs. Back when there were scout dogs, some of my early influences were from guys who were handlers for scout dog teams in Vietnam. None of these people know about that. They don't know about any of this. Garrett wants to try to switch tacks and say, when Ivan was off on the right road, when he said, what about a dog that's used to take down terrorists? And she shifted to detection dogs for bombs. That has nothing to do, it's not the same thing whatsoever. Zak the Hack is cornered. He'll start saying, well, the studies that you have are wrong, and the studies I have are right, and they're not. They're flawed. And most people that are watching these things don't have a research methods background. They haven't done any of that stuff. They don't know. The numbers are incorrect. The skewing, the null hypothesis has not even been entered into the factorization. What is their rejection range of 5% to 10%? What are they doing? The data, they don't talk about this. But what he wants to say is that, oh, the American vet, and he's talking about the U.S., the U.S. Veterinary Society agrees with us on this is how to train dogs. Really? What dogs did they train? Now, the faulty logic, I don't think Zak the Hack has ever passed a logic course, and I doubt that Susan Garrett took logic courses when she was at the university, because they use so many faulty argumentations. And he wants to say that a veterinary group tells you how to train dogs. They don't train dogs. It's the same thing as saying the American Medical Association tells you how to be an Olympic athlete. They don't know anything about the training of Olympic athletes. They don't know how to make you a decathlon athlete. They don't know how to do anything. And they don't know how to make you a professional athlete, that's for certain. So what I'm going to delve into now are the things that scare them. Denise Fenzi ran away because she couldn't do this, because she said, I can do anything with this purely positive. Same thing that Garret's saying. Garret's trying to play it off as if, well, you're not at the level of enlightenment. Aversives. Anything, and that's from the dog's point of view, not your point of view. They keep projecting their anthropomorphic things, their philosophy, their idea of how things, and they'll omit it in certain points. You listen to, well, I gotta do what I think. Yeah, what you think is not what's best for the dog. Number one, what you think is not how the dog learns best. It's not real life. Okay, here you go. Here you go. Here's the one that none of them do because they have never worked with hunting dogs. They've never worked with anti-poaching dogs. They haven't worked with prison dogs that are responsible for pulling prisoners out of the cells or hunting, tracking them down. Those dogs have to face aversive training. Just like if you're a fighter, what do you think? I was just rewarded. I punched the air and now I'm ready to fight. The hell if you're ready to fight. You have to face adverse situations, and my super dog wants me to play. And I have more dogs at one time, more varied dogs than any of these people have. I have a super dog. This is my KMPV Dutch Shepherd right here, the new Rin 1010. You can see some videos of him. I can do everything that Rin 1010 did, and now I'll get into this, but there's so much to cover here. Let's see you call. Do you know what a chase dog is? I bet most of these, I bet they don't. And I guarantee that Garret and Fenzi never did, and she tried to switch everything. You want to talk about switching the goalposts, because they can't deal with real dogs. I'm talking about dogs where if there's a mistake made, a human or a canine dies. That's what really counts, not your contrived, stupid teeter-totters and your contact points and agility. Who cares? Those dogs are high drive. It's not the same. Have you studied Maslow? Obviously not, because you don't know about the different levels and what takes priority. A dog in actual hunt drive, that a chase dog is the dog that goes in and grabs the boar, the catch dog, I should say. The chase dog is the dog the dogs, they usually use 3 or 4 chase dogs to hunt the boar down and trap the boar, and then they'll send the catch dog in. The catch dog is a powerful dog that goes in against dangerous boars. I'm not in favor of this, but I'm in awe of the dogs. I have one actually, and he's autistic. I have an autistic catch dog. He was bred to be a catch dog. I don't use him as a catch dog at all. And you can see some of my videos with him. A catch dog goes in, grabs the boar by the ear or the snout, and holds the boar down, waiting for the men to arrive. And some people tie the hog up and then transport him to a different place. Or they'll come up and they'll spear him or knife him. That's the hog hunters. Now, can you call a catch dog from 3/4 of a mile away off of a boar because you realize that this boar is too much for your catch dog, that he's too dangerous, that he's 400-pound razorback? Hogs can kill you easily. They cut a femoral artery, you're going to die out in the swamp. They kill dogs all the time. That's why they wear Kevlar. That's why the dogs are in Kevlar. Unless they're using West Siberian Lykie, who are extremely athletic and move very, very fast. They're generally not used as catch dogs. They're used as chase dogs, but I'm getting off on a tangent. But I know about this. Garret, you don't know crap about this. Zak the Hack, you know jack shit nothing about this. These dogs, if they're not called off, if you don't have a reliable way to call them off, to get a recall off when they're in drive hunt mode, not, oh, my Buzzy was so fired up. Buzzy didn't have his life on the line. Garret didn't. And neither was your life on the line. So if you got a little problem with me, I don't care. Look me up what I do for a living. I change the self-defense world by not playing games, by not lying about things, by facing the reality. And this is the deal that you people are not doing this, where these other guys are making mistakes about countering you. Your methods cannot work to train to get a dog off in that situation. You can't do it. I'll bring another one up. Zak the Hack and Susan Garrett, you can't do. Neither can Denise Fenzi or a bunch of you other people who are stuck in your little, I want to force my ideology onto everyone. I want to control everyone. You're going to do what I say. You're going to wear these head halters, and you're not going to be able to use this and that because I don't agree with it. And I have to control people because I have a passive-aggressive personality. How do you stop a dog that kills chickens? Ho! Jack shit, you never thought of that, did you? How do you do that? These are real-life situations, because if you are in a farm area, farmers will try to kill your dog if they see your dog killing chickens, although, you know, dog's worth more than a chicken in my worldview. How do you do it? How do you do that, huh? How are you going to do competing? What are you going to use as a competition? That they're in hunt mode. They're in hunt mode. That is evolutionarily a higher, more important. Look up Maslow again, and look up Ray Carpenter. He handled all of this. And by the way, Bulgarian, you're wrong about the Anatolian. They cannot kill wolves. Carpenter covered all this. Refer to all of his work so that you can get that straight. System better. They have a narrow chest so that they don't get torsion and bloat. Twice the brain size of any dog. The wolf does. Teeth are stronger, jaws are better. They're just the souped up version, and they can learn. They're smarter. They can learn by observation. Dogs can't, no matter what Ramirez is trying to do and what the Italian PhD has been working on, trying to teach dogs to do as I say, or whatever she calls it. But coyotes and wolves can learn from watching. Something cats can do too, by the way. Throwing that in. I have this huge background that is, none of these people on YouTube can match me. I've been covert. I've been training dogs, but my main thing has been I've been a professional fighter. I've worked as a subject matter expert for military and contractors in zero-distance warfare. And I've done things with languages. Like I said, I'm a linguist. But I'm bringing it out because these other people don't seem to be able to handle presenting the dogs that prove the point. Let's see you train a seeing eye dog without that dog ever going through adversives. Let's see you train a dog that's an anti-poaching dog working in the Kruger National Park, or the pack dogs that are working in South Africa also, without any sort of aversive training. So I'll talk about IGP. That's a sport. It's, you know, I know it was a breed standard originally. Schutzland, anybody who knows anything knows, is aware of that. We know about Conrad Most, about these things if you know about canines whatsoever. Dog. And this is the problem. And it doesn't apply to other dogs. That's why Winifred Strickland has never been equal with German Shepherds. She's probably the greatest German Shepherd AKC trainer that ever lived, that ever will be. I don't think anybody's come close to what she's done. The guy, I can't think of his name, I think it starts with a B. He, Golden Retriever, had the highest score ever because he was very good in AKC obedience. Come on, Bulgarian, I don't hear you ever talking about Mario, Belgium, 6-time world champion. And how many times Belgian champion? Loads. Ton. That guy's the shit, as we say. That guy's the shit, you know, in that sport. But sports are not the total reality. That's like saying, hey, you know, look, little Bobby is very good at karate point fighting. He can't fight. He can't fight war fighting. It doesn't translate. It's not the same. And now Gary Wilkes has covered a lot of this stuff. And the thing is, with all these people like Garret and Zak the Hack, all this stuff exploded in the 90s. When I started training, all there were hobbyists who were doing obedience as a hobby. And also gun dog people. And there were people who were working for the police or the military. And the third other category was the movie and TV industry. Now those people, which none of you were smart enough to look at, were the ones who work with the most different types of dogs had to do the most different types of things, didn't have patterned things. IGP is a pattern. It's a pattern. All you people doing that, and so is agility really. They learn patterns. You work on these patterns, and then you get the dog to perform these patterns. But in movie work, there's not a pattern. Everything changes. They may have to do something new. And the distraction level is enormous. They are by far the best trainers of multi types of dogs, doing many types of things. Protection work, biting, retrieving, all of these things movie dog trainers have had to use. It's the most flexible type of training because we know so many different ways to train dogs. Some of these guys are beyond anything that any of the sport people do. Frank Inn, Benji, trainer among others, unreal. Red Weatherwax with Lassie, the original one, Pal, the real name of the dog is Pal, was Pal. Unbelievable. And let's go to Lee Duncan, Rin Tin Tin, over 100 years ago, doing things that you people still can't do, that they use 5 or 6 dogs for, with 3 cameras, 1 dog, 1 trainer, 1 to 2 cameras back then, no safety, nothing. These guys were trainers. Giving you a clue where to look. Nobody else has even said it because you don't even think about it. You think about all this stuff that boomed in the 90s because suddenly there was this urban and suburban dog craze, and there became all these people trying to make money from it. That's what all these people try to do, to make money from this. I started the love of dogs for the training because I was going to train big cats, actually. As for that Moore Park guy that's on here, thinks he's a tough guy. He's, what is he, 160? He's not a tough guy. I got accepted in 87 to Moore Park. So, in your face there on that. So all these people, I got the creds. You don't know me, doesn't mean anything. Because I was big in another field. I became the top of the heap in the self-defense world. But I'm bringing that whole way of thinking, that analysis that made me a genius, that made me the Mozart, that's what other people call me, the Mozart of self-defense, into this to prove where they're wrong with this purely positive garbage. It's garbage. It's balance. No, there's ways to train the dog. Wilkes has gone through all this. How come you don't talk about Wilkes? And Ken Ramirez has even said that yes, you got to be able to use more than this if you really want to train the dog. Now, aversive is from the canine or the big cat point of view. And Wilkes has gone through, like, trying to put dolphin training, porpoise training, as if it were applicable to canines. There's a lot of reasons why it's not the same. The same, horse trainers tried to come in. There was a big thing, in fact, IGP, that's where the stupid stargazing, non-functional healing started, was from horse trainers coming in and changing all that. What is that about? That's not functional. That is not functional. Real tactical dogs can go left side, right side, and center. There's a lot of reasons for center. I'm not going to clear it. And the real tactical for most, from nowadays, is actually to have the dog on your right side, not on your left. And most people don't know about hunting dogs whatsoever. Whatsoever. Let's see you call, Garret, let's see you call a greyhound, recall a greyhound that's in drive, hunt drive, for a rabbit. Let's see you do it. Let's see the video. Come on, you say you video everything. I called Fenzi on this. She ran away. And then she tried to say, I don't care. Yeah, you don't care because you can't do it. And that's the thing. You not caring doesn't change the facts that you don't have the ability. With your limited ideology, you cannot do it. You cannot call a boarhound and save that boarhound's life or your life. If the boar is coming back towards you, you've got to get out of there. Most of these guys are on the 4-wheel. They're not quad runners, but they're on this. And the catch dogs jump in the back. They're in a cage, and because these are big dogs. They're American bulldog mixes, and you can see my guy Akuma. That's what he's bred. He's a big, powerful guy. He's not used for that. I'm never going to use him for that. And he's autistic. Don't think I don't know how to train a bunch of different types of dogs. I can train the super dogs, and I have a real jungle dog. None of you know what real dogs are. And I'm talking the Copincher level of real dogs, not artificially man-created dogs. I'm talking about real dogs. I have them. If you haven't worked with them, you don't know. You're dealing with artificially bred dogs, and you're all trying to pick and choose. I mean, I have a super dog, and what he can do a 7-foot vertical. Boom, 7 foot. There's on my channel. You can see that. Among other things, he's in the top 5% in the genetics. His dad was number 3 in 2017 in the KMPV Nationals. I'm hooked up with KMPV people. That's another thing. And you won't see any of the hunting people or the KMPV people falling for your garbage because it doesn't work. When you have dog, and neither with the sled dogs, either Iditarod or Yukon, those are the people, the mushrooms. I want to say something here because I'm getting a little sick of the agility trainers who don't risk a damn thing, or even the trick trainers that don't risk anything, talking as if their shit is applicable to anything. It's not. The people who know the dogs the best in the world, as a group, are long distance mushers. And why the hell is that? Because they work with more dogs than anybody else. They have teams of 14, 16 dogs, and some people have 100. If they're real competitive, they have 100 dogs. They spend more time with those dogs than anybody else. They're out for days with those dogs. They sleep with those dogs. They risk their lives with those dogs because every year people are getting killed by moose. Oh, you're thinking bears. No, moose are the most dangerous things for sled dogs because it's a mortal enemy thing again. And the pat down trails that they try to create for the sled dogs, the moose get on it because it's much easier to walk on them. And the moose don't want to get off them when the sled dog shows up. And most of this sled dog stuff is done in darkness. Unless you've been out there minus 20 Celsius, minus 30 Fahrenheit, with dogs in the snow, in the dark, can't see a damn thing. And you got to rely on that lead dog. Look at Togo or Balto. Let's talk about the diphtheria run. You know, see, I know all this stuff. You're not going to find anybody else on YouTube that has all this wealth of information on different types of dogs training. They're stuck in their little niche, and they try to project their little niche. And these agility trick people have got their heads straight up their asses. That stuff is not real. It's contrived. Nobody's risking a damn thing. Let's see you get out there. Let's see you get out there for a 5-day in the Yukon territory. Let's see you do it, okay? Let's see you work with gulag dogs in Siberia that are trained to kill, not to apprehend, not to hold, not to hang on, not to do what IGP dogs do, bite deep and hold. The dog can get killed that way. That's not how you train war dogs. I'm not going to go into that, but what I'm pointing out here is I know all these things you don't know. And the thing is that you want to project and tell people that the way that you have and that everybody else is wrong. They don't have to use negative reinforcement. They don't have to use positive punishment. They don't have to use negative punishment at all. They can just somehow do this. And that's not how life works. That's not how we're set up to remember and learn. An aversive thing for you is at emotional level of a one event learning. You're walking across the ice on a lake and it cracks and you fall in, but you're able to get out and you don't die. That is forever in your emotional memory. That's a one event. So aversive, you thought you were going to die, and we're set up evolutionarily to learn from those sorts of things. So is every other mammal. And how are you going to train? Here's the big one. How are you going to train your dogs to stay away from rattlesnakes or other venomous snakes? By the way, in Thailand, I had to deal with cobras. How do you do that without using aversives? How? Show me! Let's go, Garret! Let's go, Zak! Let's go, punks! Let's see it! Let's see it! I'm fed up! I'm fed up with the lies, the promoting ideology to make hundreds of thousands of dollars. When you haven't trained certain dogs, you haven't trained as many different dogs as I have, you haven't trained mortal consequence dogs. Let's see it, Zak. Let's go, coward. Get in the ring, punk. Let's go, Susan. Come on, come on. No changing things. No changing off to another category. We're talking about war dogs. We're talking about boar hounds. Let's see it. Come on, Susan. Where is the video? You don't have it. Beaten like a drum. All of you. And that's how you do it, Ivan. That's how you do it, Robert. You don't pussyfoot around. Straightforward on these, because they don't have real defenses.